Hello class 10. Today we are going to revise the chapter electrolysis. So we have studied what is electrolysis. Now we are going to revise the whole chapter once again. The word electrolysis is a combination of Greek word electron and lysis and was first introduced by Michael Faraday in the 19th century. The word electrolysis was given by Michael Faraday. Keep this thing in mind. Electrolysis has been used as a tool to study chemical reactions and obtain pure elements much before the term was coined. Electrolysis is the decomposition of an ionic compound by passing electricity through molten or in aqueous solution of the ionic compound. Due to strong Coulombic forces of attraction in the ionic compounds, they do not conduct electricity in solid state. So, in molten or in aqueous solution, they conduct electricity because they dissociate into ions. Electricity is used to produce chemical changes, and the apparatus in which the electrolysis is carried out is called an electrochemical or electrolytic cell. So you can see a diagram of the electrolytic cell. Here we have two metal plates. One is cathode, negative terminal, and other is anode, connected to the positive terminal of DC power supply. DC power supply, either we use a battery or a cell. And you can see a liquid here. Inside the electrolytic cell, we have placed an electrolyte. An electrolyte will dissociate into ions. Now, this is again the same diagram of the electrolytic cell. So, let us see what happens in electrolytic process. Oxidation and reduction. Both the processes takes place in electrolysis process. At the positive electrode, the negative ion lose electrons, get oxidized, hence the process is called oxidation. For example, 2Cl negative, they lose 2 electron, form chlorine gas. Similarly, at the negative electrode, the positive ion, they move towards the negative electrode, gain the electron, get reduced. For example, Cu2 positive, that is copper ion, gain 2 electron, get converted to copper metal. Now, let us discuss few terms used in electrolysis. An electrolyte is an ionic compound which in aqueous or molten state conduct electricity, dissociate into ions. An electrode is a rod or a plate where electricity enters or leaves an electrolyte during electrolysis. Reactions occurring at the electrons. Electrodes means the reaction they only occurs on the surface and not inside the electrolyte. There are two types of electrode. One is called inert electrode and other is known as reactive electrode. Anode is the positive electrode connected to the positive terminal of DC power supply, and keep in mind oxidation occurs at the anode. Similarly, we have cathode. The cathode is a negative electrode connected to the negative terminal of DC power source, hence reduction occurs at the cathode. We all know what is an anion. An anion is an ion with a negative charge, and during electrolysis, these anions move towards anode, whereas a cation is an ion with a positive charge. During electrolysis, they get attracted towards cathode. Now, let us see what is the meaning of inert and reactive electrodes. An inert electrode is that which do not lose its mass during the electrolysis process. We have few inert electrodes like platinum, gold, graphite, etc. Reactive or active electrodes are those electrodes which lose their mass, or those electrodes whose mass changes during electrolysis, and it is oxidized during electrolysis. For example, we have copper, zinc, etc. Now, let us see how the flow of current takes place during electrolysis. Cations and anions are responsible for the flow of electric current in the solution of the cell, and the electrons are responsible for the flow of electric current in the external circuit. So when the electric current is passed through the electrolyte, first point, the cation moves towards cathode, take up electron, get reduced. Similarly, anion of the electrolyte, they move towards the oppositely charged electrode, that is towards anode, give up their electrons, hence oxidation takes place at the anode. These electrons, which are released at anode, flow towards cathode through the external circuit. Now, let us see a very important concept, that is reactivity series of metals. Reactivity series of metal means arrangement of the metals in decreasing order of reactivity. So on the basis of reactivity of different metals with oxygen, water, acids as well as displacement reactions, the metals has been arranged in decreasing order of their reactivity. This arrangement of metals in order of decreasing reactivity is called reactivity series or activity series. The activity series of some common metals is given in the table. That table we will see in the next slide. Now let us see what are the reasons for different reactivity. In the reactivity series of metal, the basis of reactivity is the tendency of metal to lose electron. If a metal can lose electron easily to form positive ions, it will be react readily with other substances, and we say that this metal is reactive. Now, you can see the activity series. We have few elements, few metals arranged like lithium, potassium, barium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, nickel, tin, lead, hydrogen, copper, mercury, silver and gold. As we move from lithium towards gold, reactivity decreases. And one thing always keep in mind, only those metals which are present on the top of the activity series can displace less active metals from their aqueous solution. So that is what we have all about the reactivity series. Now let us see what happens when we connect a battery to a bulb and the electrodes. Now here you can see we are using solid sodium chloride. Here in a container we connected a cell and a bulb. You can see the bulb does not glow when we are using solid sodium chloride, because solid sodium chloride it do not conduct electricity, whereas when we add water or when we melt the solid sodium chloride, the bulb glow, which indicates that ionic solids do not conduct electricity. They conduct electricity only in their molten state or in their aqueous state. So now let us see what is an electrolyte. Electrolyte is a compound which undergoes ionization and conduct electricity in the molten or dissolved state. There are three types of electrolyte. One is called strong electrolyte, second is called weak electrolyte, and third of course we say non-electrolytes. So electrolytes are those compounds which dissociate into ions. Strong electrolytes are those substances which dissociate completely into ions. Strong acids, strong bases and salts are salts of strong electrolytes are strong electrolytes. So now let us see weak electrolyte. A weak electrolyte dissociate partially in the solution. It means the dissociation is not complete. Polar covalent compounds are weak electrolyte. Weak acids, weak bases are weak electrolyte. For example, acetic acid, formic acid, etc. Now, the third type is non-electrolyte. Non-electrolyte does not dissociate at all in this solution and hence they does not produce any kind of ions. Non-electrolytes are typically polar covalent substances that dissolve in water as molecule. Means they always remain as a molecule in water. Hence, do not dissociate into ions. Sugar C12H22O11 is a non-electrolyte. So, non-electrolyte are those which do not dissociate into ions, hence they do not conduct electricity at all. Now, let us discuss few questions. The diagram shows the electrolysis of lead bromide using inert electrodes. Why does the bulb only light up when the lead bromide is melted? We know that lead bromide, when it is in molten state, it contains ions, and those ions are free to move. So they have given the options. A. Bromine atoms in lead bromide are converted to ions when it is melted. Electrons flow through the lead bromide when it is melted. The ions in the lead bromide are free to move when it is melted. And D. There are no ions in solid lead bromide. The correct option is the ions in lead bromide are free to move when it is melted. So you can see the right option is C. Now, we have some exceptions. Acids such as HCl and sulfuric acid, they form H positive ions when dissolved in water. Hence, they behave as an electrolyte. So again, those acids which are strong or those alkalis which are strong, they are strong electrolytes, and weak acids or weak bases are weak electrolytes. Now, here you can see the first diagram. In the first diagram, in the electrolytic cell, we are taking 1 molar CH3OH, that is methyl alcohol. When the circuit is completed, it has been seen that the bulb does not glow. Why? Because methyl alcohol is a non-electrolyte. It do not dissociate into ions. On the other hand, if you see the second diagram, here we are taking 1 molar NaCl solution. NaCl is a strong electrolyte which dissociate completely into ions. Hence, the bulb glow. Whereas in the third case, we are using a weak electrolyte, that is 1 molar acetic acid CH3COOH. You can see that the brightness of bulb is low. Why? Because acetic acid do not dissociate completely into ions. So the brightness is less. Now let us discuss another question. In this circuit, the ammeter showed that no current was flowing. However, after a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid were added to liquid X, the ammeter showed that a current was flowing. What is liquid X? Keep in mind, liquid X, we have to find what is that. Initially, it do not conduct electricity, but when a small amount of dilute sulfuric acid is added, they conduct electricity. So they have given us option: aqueous sodium chloride, aqueous sodium hydroxide, dilute sulfuric acid, D distilled water, and E tetrachloromethane. Here you can see aqueous sodium chloride is a strong electrolyte. Aqueous sodium hydroxide is a strong electrolyte. Dilute sulfuric acid is a strong electrolyte. It gets dissociated into ions. Tetrachloromethane is a weak electrolyte. It means if liquid X would have been tetrachloromethane, ammeter must have shown some value. So the option is D, distilled water, because distilled water do not conduct electricity at all. So during the electrolysis of water, small amount of sulfuric acid is added so that it conduct electricity. Now let's see another question. The experiment was set up. The bulb light up. What? But there was no decomposition product at the electrode. What is X? X means we have to find what is electrolyte X. Aqueous sodium chloride, liquid bromine, molten sodium chloride, and D mercury. Right option is D. because aqueous sodium chloride, when it decomposes or when electrolysis is being carried out, it produces chlorine gas. Hence, decomposition product is obtained at the electrode. Similarly, liquid bromine, it produces bromine gas, which is brown in color. Again, the product is obtained at the electrode. Similarly, molten sodium chloride produces chlorine gas. So, mercury on decomposition does not produce any product. So, the right option is D, that is mercury. Now, this is an electrolytic cell, the whole diagram of an electrolytic cell. Here we have a power supply, we have a switch, we have two electrodes. The positive electrode is anode and the negative electrode is cathode. Both the electrodes are immersed in an electrolytic solution and you can see that the bulb glows. The bulb glows only when this solution is an electrolyte. So this is a simple example of, or we can say a diagram of electrolytic cell. So this is the process which takes place. You can see here cathode is a negative plate and the positive ion, that means cations, they are moving towards cathode. Whereas anode is a positive plate and the negatively charged ion, they move towards anode. Hence, a redox reaction takes place. Now, we are going to discuss about the electrolysis of lead bromide, PbBr2. The ions present are Pb2 positive, that is lead ions, and bromide ions. In the molten electrolyte, charged ions are free to move. When current is passed through, the chemical changes occurs at both the electrodes. At the anode, the power supply pull the electrons out of the anode. Anode is positively charged. Anode attract the oppositely charged negative ion towards it. So when bromide ion reaches the anode, they loses electron and hence form bromine gas, which is brown in color. Similarly, the power supply pushes the electron into the cathode. The cathode is therefore negatively charged. The negatively charged cathode, it attracts the lead ion, Pb2 positive ion, more towards itself. When positive, that is Pb2 positive ion touches the cathode, it takes 2 electron and changes to lead atom. So this is the diagram. You can see here we are getting the bromine vapors on the positive electrode. Whereas at the negative electrode you can see the molten lead collects under the cathode. So this is the electrolysis of lead bromide. This is the overall flow of electrons, as well as we have seen here what kind of substances are obtained at cathode as well as at anode. Now, in general, lead bromide, it is splits into its component elements. PbBr2, generally it forms lead plus Br2. At anode, bromine gas is obtained, which is brown in color, whereas at cathode, silvery deposit of molten lead is obtained. So you can see here the actual diagram, actual picture of electrolysis of PbBr2. Here you can see a bromine gas is obtained. Similarly, we are getting at the cathode silvery liquid, that is lead. So this is how the electrolysis of PbBr2 is carried out. Now let us discuss the electrolysis of molten compounds, that is NaCl. The first example is electrolysis of molten sodium chloride. At cathode, of course, NaCl, it dissociates to form Na positive ion as well as Cl negative ion. At the cathode, sodium ion move towards cathode, gain electron, get reduced from sodium. Whereas at anode, two Cl negative ion, that is chloride ion, move towards anode, towards positive plate, form chlorine gas and loses two electron. Hence, oxidation takes place at anode. The overall reaction is 2NaCl gives 2Na plus Cl2. That means chlorine gas. So you can see the electrolysis of brine. Keep in mind, brine is an aqueous solution of NaCl. Sodium chloride is made of an alkali metals and a halogen. When it is dissolved, we can say the solution is brine, and we can electrolyte it to produce three things. Chlorine gas, which is used to kill bacteria and to make acids, bleach and plastics. Chlorine is also used as a bleaching agent. And hydrogen gas, which is produced, is used for the manufacturing of ammonia and margarine. Now you can see during the electrolysis of NaCl, we are getting two types of gases. One is chlorine gas and other is hydrogen. Whereas sodium, it gets dissolved in water to form sodium hydroxide. That means a strong alkali. The third product is sodium hydroxide, which is used to make soaps, paper and ceramics. So at the positive electrode, we are getting chlorine gas, whereas at the negative electrodes, hydrogen gas is obtained. So electrolysis of molten compound. Let us discuss electrolysis of some other compounds like calcium chloride. Cathode we get calcium, and at anode we are getting chlorine gas. Sodium iodide, cathode metal, of course sodium, and at anode non-metal. Here we will get iodine. Lead oxide, PbO, lead at cathode, and at anode we are getting oxygen. From here you can easily see at the cathode we are getting metals, whereas at the anode we are getting non-metals. Now, summary: electrolysis of molten ionic compounds. First is PbBr2, that is lead bromide. Brown fumes of bromine gas at anode, silvery deposit of molten lead at cathode. If we take potassium iodide, we get purple fumes of iodine gas, that is at anode, and molten potassium at cathode. For calcium chloride, yellowish green fumes of chlorine gas. Keep in mind the color. PbBr2, bromine gas, brown color, iodine, purple flames, and yellowish green fumes of chlorine gas is obtained. So calcium chloride, when it undergoes electrolysis, yellowish green fumes of chlorine gas at anode and silvery deposit of molten calcium at cathode. So when an molten ionic compound is electrolyzed, metal is produced at cathode and a non-metal is produced at anode. Molten ionic compounds conduct electricity because of ions. Solid ionic compounds do not conduct electricity because the ions cannot move. They are not free to move. They have a strong electrostatic forces of attraction. Inert electrodes do not react in the electrolysis. That is why they do not lose mass. In the electrolysis of molten electrolyte, there are two kinds of ions. Keep in mind, molten electrolytes, they are two types or two kinds of ions, cations and anions. Whereas in aqueous solution, there are four kinds of ions. Now, aqueous solutions are those which contains water, H2O. When we say H2O, when electricity is passed through water, H positive ion and OH negative ions are also formed. So, four types of ions are formed. Two come from the electrolyte and two come from the water. It means there are two cations and there are 2 anions. So total we have 4 ions. Now let us discuss the electrolysis of dilute sulfuric acid. Now when we carry out the electrolysis of dilute sulfuric acid, at the cathode, hydrogen ions are discharged to produce hydrogen gas. 2H positive plus 2 electron form H2. Because sulfuric acid H2SO4 it dissociates to form 2H positive plus SO4 2 negative ions. Similarly, water present in the aqueous solution it also dissociates from H positive ion and OH negative ions. The positive ions they move towards negative electrode and the negative ions they move towards positive electrodes. So you can see at cathode 2H positive ions they gain 2 electron get reduced gives hydrogen gas, whereas at anode hydroxide ions as well as sulfate ions both move towards anode. Since the concentration of OH ions is high, so they get, of course, at the anode, when they reaches, they lose electron, get oxidized. So 4 OH negative ion get converted to O2 plus 2H2 plus releases 4 electron. So the overall changes that takes place 2H2O gives 2H2 plus O2. Change in solution only water decomposes, whereas we are carrying out the electrolysis of dilute sulfuric acid. Keep in mind in dilute sulfuric acid, OH ions they get discharged at anode instead of discharging of sulfate ions. So we are not getting any sulfur dioxide gas, we are getting oxygen gas. So now let us move towards the next part. We have done the electrolysis of aqueous sulfuric acid. Now you can see here the diagram represents an experiment in which an electric current is being passed through dilute sulfuric acid. Here we have cathode and anode. Cathode is negative and anode is positive plate. Here in this U-shaped tube we have added dilute sulfuric acid, means sulfuric acid plus water. You can see at the cathode, that is at the negative electrode we are getting hydrogen, whereas at anode we are getting oxygen. You can see the volume of oxygen produced is less than volume of the hydrogen produced, because when dissociation takes place 2H2O gives 2H2 plus O2. For 2 moles of water, it gives 2 moles of hydrogen and 1 mole of oxygen. It means the volume of oxygen is less than volume of the hydrogen produced. So, give the formula of all the ions present in the solution. You can see the number of ions produced: H positive ion, OH negative ions and sulfate ion, SO4 2 negative. Because when sulfuric acid decompose, it form H positive ion and sulfate ions, and when water decompose, it form H positive ion and OH negative ions. So there are 3 kinds of ion produced: H positive, OH negative and SO4 2 negative. Cathode, hydrogen move towards cathode, gain electron, get reduced, get converted to hydrogen. At anode, 4 OH negative get converted to oxygen, release water plus 4 electron. These 4 electrons it moves in the outer circuit. So hydrogen which is produced, it always produce a pop sound with a lighted splint. Or we can say that hydrogen always burns with pop sound, whereas oxygen it really relates a glowing splint, means it helps in burning. So this is how the electrolysis is being carried out for sulfuric acid, anode and cathode. The same process which we have done just now. Since water is a covalent compound, pure or distilled water is a non-electrolyte. Hence, it do not conduct electricity at all. That is why a few drops of ionic compounds like dilute sulfuric acid are enough to make the water becomes an electrolyte. With the electrolysis of aqueous acids or alkali, the volume of hydrogen collected is always twice the volume of the oxygen as we have discussed it. And keep in mind, for the electrolysis of water, a small amount of sulfuric acid is required. Now, let us see another question. The diagram shows the result of an electrolysis experiment using inert electrodes. Which of the following could liquid X be? So you can see four options are given: aqueous copper sulfate, concentrated hydrochloric acid, dilute sulfuric acid, distilled water, and E option is ethanol. The diagram shows the result of an electrolysis experiment. You can see here in those test tubes, here volume on the right side is less than the volume on the left side. It means it is water. And we know that distilled water do not conduct electricity at all. It means small amount of sulfuric acid is required. So in the distilled water, we add small amount of dilute sulfuric acid, or we can say that the liquid used here is dilute sulfuric acid, because dilute sulfuric acid conduct electricity. So now electrolysis of concentrated sodium chloride. Again, when we talk about electrolysis of sodium chloride solution, there are four kinds of ions which are produced: Na positive, Cl negative, H positive, and OH negative ions. Damp litmus paper indicates the formation of chlorine gas, whereas hydrogen gas is obtained on the negative electrode. Here, the electrolyte used is a brine. Brine means sodium chloride solution. This is electrolysis of concentrated NaCl. Actually, the electrolysis is carried out in this way. Now, let us see what happens at anode and cathode. Both Cl negative and OH negative ions, they migrate towards anode. Cl negative are preferentially discharged because of their higher concentration as compared to OH negative ions. Hence, instead of getting oxygen, we are getting chlorine gas at anode. So, during the electrolysis of concentrated NaCl, chlorine gas is obtained at anode. Similarly, towards cathode, there will be a depletion of H positive and Cl negative ion in this solution. The sodium and OH negative ions, however, they remain as it is. Sodium ion combined with OH negative ion forms sodium hydroxide, whereas at cathode we are getting hydrogen gas. So at the cathode, both H positive and Na positive ion migrate. H positive, they get preferentially discharged, as H positive is lower than sodium ion, because the discharge potential of H positive is less than sodium ion in an electrochemical series. Hence, instead of getting sodium metal, we will get hydrogen gas at cathode. So at anode we are getting chlorine, whereas at cathode we are getting hydrogen during the electrolysis of concentrated NaCl solution. Now, let us discuss electrolysis of copper sulfate solution. As copper sulfate solution, when it dissociates, it forms copper ion, Cu2 positive ion, and sulfate ions, SO4 2 negative ions. Similarly, there are two more ions which are formed from water. One is H positive ion and other is OH negative ions. So you can see the cell which is used here. The apparatus for the electrolysis of copper sulfate using carbon electrodes. Keep in mind, we are using graphite electrodes, means inert electrodes are being used. Copper sulfate solution is used as an electrolyte. Bubbles of oxygen gas are produced at positive plate. You can see the bubbles are shown here. So, this is the electrolysis of copper sulfate. Now, let us see how it happens. So, electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate using carbon, that is inert electrodes. The ions present, of course, there are four kind of ions: two positive, copper 2 positive, and hydrogen ion, and two negative, sulfate ions and hydroxide ions. Now, reactions. At anode, OH negative ions being higher in concentration get discharged. So 4 OH negative ions gives O2 plus 2H2O plus 4 electron. Hence, at anode, oxygen gas is obtained. Whereas at the cathode, copper 2 positive ion and hydrogen ion move towards cathode, as copper 2 positive ion has lower reduction potential, so it gain 2 electron, get converted to copper. So copper metal is deposited at cathode, means cathode we are getting copper. Now this is the overall reaction, overall process. Electrolysis of copper sulfate solution using carbon electrode. At the cathode, carbon metal is deposited. At the anode, hydroxide ions from the water are discharged to give oxygen gas. Now let us see what changes occurs. The blue color of copper sulfate, we know that copper sulfate is blue in color, CuSO4 dot 5 molecules of water. The blue color of copper sulfate slowly fades as the concentration of copper ion decreases. Hence, the solution after some time it turns light blue due to decrease in concentration of copper ions. So again we can see here the process of electrolysis of copper sulfate. You can see here copper at anode. You can see the size of the electrode. The copper at the anode, it get dissolved in this solution, whereas the electrode, that is copper cathode, its size increases, it gain mass. This process is used for the electrolysis of copper sulfate by using copper electrodes. The previous one which we had done, in that we were using carbon electrodes, but in this case we are using copper electrodes, and copper electrodes are not inert electrodes. So for this process there are four kind of ions produced. One is Cu2 positive, other H positive, they are positive cations, and anions are sulfate SO4 2 negative and OH negative ions. So this is how the electrolysis of copper sulfate using copper electrodes is being carried out. So copper being the same element as the ions present in solution, it is a reactive electrode. The anode will take up in the reaction. The copper electrodes dissolve into solution to replace the copper ions discharged at the cathode. So you have seen how the electrolysis of copper sulfate is being carried out. Now the reactions which occurs at the anode, Cu get converted to copper 2 positive ion, loses 2 electron. Copper anode get dissolved. That is why we have seen the size of the copper, that is a copper electrode, that is size of the anode, it decreases. Whereas the copper 2 positive ion, they move towards cathode, gain 2 electron, get converted to copper. Hence copper metal deposited. Of course the mass increases. Now at the cathode, copper metal is deposited on the cathode, whereas at anode, the copper in the anode is oxidized to form copper 2 ions. Now the observation, the copper cathode gain copper and becomes larger. The copper anode is oxidized and becomes smaller. The amount of copper sulfate and the color of the solution does not change. Keep in mind, when we are using copper electrodes, the color of the solution does not change. It remains same. It remains blue. Now you can see here, impure copper anode gets smaller because copper is dissolving, whereas on the other hand, pure copper is obtained and sludge containing some precious metal is obtained at anode, also known as anode mud. Keep in mind, sometimes the question comes, what type of metals we obtain in anode mud? Anode mud. So keep in mind, in anode mud, we get some precious metal like gold, platinum, etc. We also call those metals as inert metals. So anode mud contains some precious metals. Now aqueous copper 2 sulfate is electrolyte using copper electrodes. The current is constant and the anode is weighed at regular intervals. So you can see mass of the anode decrease with time. Mass of anode, you can see here, these are the graphs. First graph shows the mass of the anode with time, it goes on decreasing. Mass of the cathode, it increase with time. So these are the graphs. Here, mass of the anode, and the second one, B, it is mass of the cathode, which increases with time. Now let us discuss a practical application of electrolysis. The very important practical application is electroplating. Electroplating is the coating of an object with a thin layer of a metal by electrolysis. Keep in mind, coating of an object with a thin layer of a metal which is more reactive by the electrolysis process. Here, the object which is to be electroplated is negative, whereas the metal whose electroplating is to be done, means whose layer we have to deposit on the object, is made positive. So electroplating of an object by using copper. You can see copper is made positive electrode, whereas the object which is to be electroplated is negative electrode. So electroplating, the electrolyte is copper sulfate solution. The object is made cathode and a piece of copper is used as anode. At anode, copper loses 2 electrons, form copper ions, whereas at cathode, copper 2 positive ion gain 2 electrons, form copper. So the overall change is that copper is transferred from anode to the object. So copper sulfate solution, it remains unchanged. Keep in mind, when we do the electroplating, constant current should be passed for a longer period of time. Similarly, electroplating of steel. Steel objects are electroplated to protect the steel from corrosion and to give the object an attractive appearance. The metals used for electroplate steel objects are corrosion resistant, they must be shiny and usually low in the reactivity series. So electroplating of steel can be done by using chromium. It is used for water taps, motor cars and bicycle parts. Tin cans, silver plated sport trophies, plaques, ornaments, knives and forks. Nickel, corrosion resistant layer before electroplating with another metal on the top. So what are the objects? Objects are electroplated to protect them from corrosion and to give them an attractive appearance. To electroplate an object with a metal, the object is made cathode, the electroplating metal is made anode, and the electrolyte is the solution of the metal ions. Similarly, electrolysis is also used for the purification of some of the metals. For example, electrolysis is used for refining or for purification of copper. So impure copper is made anode, whereas pure copper is used as cathode. Pure copper from the anode goes into the electrolyte, it gets dissolved, and pure copper is then deposited at the cathode. So this is how electrolysis is used for the purification of some of the metal. You can see here impure metal. From impure metal, copper ions, they are getting dissolved in the aqueous solution. Whereas at the pure copper, it move towards cathode, gain 2 electron and get deposited at cathode. So at anode, mass decreases, whereas the mass of the cathode, it increases. Now, the metal which is higher up in the reactivity series give up electrons more easily and is the negative electrode. The metal lower down in the reactivity series is the positive electrode. Keep in mind, this is the way how to identify which one is cathode and which is anode. The metals which are higher up in the reactivity series give the electron easily, hence they are made negative electrodes, whereas those metals which are present lower down in the reactivity series, they are always made positive electrodes. So now with this we have revised the chapter. Let us see few more working of electrolytic cell. Now let us see how the electric cell works. At the zinc electrode, it is a zinc cell. So at the zinc electrode, zinc atom, it loses electron. Of course, zinc is a metal, it loses electron. Electron goes into zinc rod to make it negative. They move along the connecting wires to the copper electrodes. And the hydrogen ion present in the solution, they gain electron from hydrogen gas. So overall reaction for this cell is Zn plus 2H positive gives zinc 2 positive plus hydrogen gas. There are some more electric cells which can be used. So you can see we can use most active metals like magnesium, zinc, iron, tin, lead, and they made the electrodes. So least reactive metals as well as most reactive metals both can be used to make a electrolytic cell. Now, key concept, that means the revision. During electrolysis of an aqueous solution, the product or products at the electrodes can come from the electrolyte or from the water. The product at the cathode is a metal or hydrogen. The product at the anode is always a non-metal. Cathode always gives metal and at anode we always get non-metal. Reactive metals are not formed at cathode. Instead, hydrogen from the water is produced. Sulfates and nitrate ions are not discharged at the anode. Instead, oxygen from the water is produced. In concentrated solution, halide ions means halogen ions and not hydroxide ions are discharged. In dilute solution, hydroxide ions are discharged. When the anode is made of a metal, it often goes into the electrolyte as a metal ion. For example, copper anode goes into copper sulfate solution as Cu2 positive ions. Carbon and platinum are inert electrode. They do not react with or dissolve in the electrolyte. Copper is refined by the electrolysis of copper sulfate solution by using copper electrodes. A simple electric cell consists of two different metals and an electrolyte. The metal higher up in the activity series is negative electrode. The further apart the metal are in the reactivity series, means those metals which are present down in the reactivity series, they are used as positive electrode. The difference between the active metal and the least active metals, larger the difference between metal, active metal and least active metal in the reactivity series, the bigger the voltage of the cell. So with this, we have finished the chapter. You all are advised to just see this video once again and revise. Thank you and have a nice day. I hope you have understood the concept clearly. Thank you and God bless. Thank you.